to the next one. So, Walter, you want to just read B?
A clever commander has advantage over a superior opponent. So that's the tactical maneuvering.
Yeah, so this is what we were just talking about. It's like, if you have the information, you can overwhelm a superior opponent. That's what we're talking about. It doesn't matter how many degrees they have or who they think they are. If you have the right approach, you can actually disarm even a superior force.
Yeah, like,
supposed.
Like that one that we used for the apologetics class. It's like all those statements that you just said. Which one of those can you test by science?
That was J.P. Moreland.
It's just a single question.
When J.P. Moreland was being engaged by the atheist, he was going through this long list of reasons he didn't believe in Christianity.
It's basically a bunch of statements that
But none of them were testable by his own scientific method.
if you can test it by science, it's just full about hair.
So yeah, I think, you, like I said, you can do things in a way that can overwhelm the superior force, is what Greg's talking about. And it can be positive or negative, so we got to be sure how our approach is. Annie, you want to read C?
Tactics are not tricks or slick tools. Clever plots to destroy non-Christian, forcing them to submit to your point of view, attempt to belittle or humiliate, or add notches on your spiritual belt.
Yeah, so I think that the last one, I think, is one that too often we tend to get, winning the argument is somehow a badge of honor, but it doesn't actually win you anything, right? So I think what Greg is trying to stress is that this approach is very effective, but it can be very ineffective if you use it with the wrong motives, right?
No, I think the way to get better at this is to practice it, because you're not going to know the situation that you're going to be in and prepare for that. The only thing that he's trying to tell you is ask questions.
Yep.
So you gather information of what their objections are, what they're standing about this particular issue, and then that's your first.
Well, and you got to engage. And in fact, we're going to get to it in a second. He's going to go through scenarios, and then we're going to fail, and then he'll come back and show us how we should have engaged those scenarios. Because the key is practice will prepare you for the next one, and don't be if you fail, the person is already a long ways from God. You have not hurt their situation at all by engaging them. So it said tactics are to help us manage or not manipulate, control, not coerce, and he has a third one.
Finesse, not
Fight, navigate through the minefields. I liked what he was talking about. The guy that was on the plane next to him had baggage. If you don't know that baggage, you're going to mess it up.
They're like, yeah, I've done that.
You know.
It didn't hurt. Then what you do?
But I like his vision of staying in the driver's seat. It's like, instead of being the expert, let them be the expert. Let them talk. But you're in complete control of the conversation, because you're engaging them and pulling it out of them, and they don't even know that you're actually directing the conversation, because the next question you ask is the next thing they're going to answer. You're actually guiding the conversation in the direction you want it to go. That's what he means by driver's seat.
People are always flattered.
Yeah. They're the one talking. Yes, but it gets you off the. You're not the one explaining, so you're just listening. That's easier. That's easier.
Much easier.
Unless you're a talker. Unless you want to talk all the time.
Well, go to the next page. Yeah. Let's do the reflect for a moment.
So I like this quote. I don't know Hugh Hewitt. I don't know who this is, but he has a bunch of quotes from this guy in his book. It said, "It is not the Christian life to wound, embarrass, or play one-upmanship with colleagues, friends, or even opponents, but it's the common vice that anyone can easily fall into. You know, but it's not, you're not being Christian if you're doing that, is I think what Hewitt is trying to get across. Well, the sad thing about aggressive evangelism is it's done as much damage as it's done good, right? And we have plenty of evidence in our Western world of that. I know China has had its share of that. I'm sure the Philippines has as well.
Well, generally, especially if the person that you're engaging with is like knows that you're coming out of concern, like you're concerned for them.
It's for themselves.
It's what you're saying. Even if they don't like what you're saying, they know that what you're saying, that you're engaging them is because out of you're concerned for them. It will not be received as negative.
No, but the thing is,
Even if they don't
you
like
gotta
what
know if they're Christian or not. Why are you gonna talk to them if they're already a Christian about Christianity?
There's a lot that says they're Christian, but
No, but
With a
you
name.
need to know that. You need to know that. It's like, you have to converse with the
But they're
person.
just
That's like a
cultural.
plane ride,
uh-huh.
kind of conversation.
Somebody as if, you know, and it just drove people.
Well, and I think
There's a different approach for a random interaction and versus a person that you know.
Yes.
well,
Generally, for the person that you know, if they know that it's out of care that you're
Well, even the random person, this method works because you don't know their situation. The aggressive evangelism, I actually think, is a failed approach. I think asking 2 questions in that evangelistic opportunity lays the foundation so you can go the next step. If you just blurt out the canned whatever talking
How
point,
can you do that? How can they do that if I don't want to listen?
well, if you don't want to listen, you're the wrong person. That's the whole thing is, if you don't want to listen, then I don't need to talk to you.
No, I know, but how can they be aggressive when I don't want to listen to them?
Oh, I that's the whole point, where a question can draw somebody in. You see, Living Waters, Ray Comfort, for better, for worse, I love the way he draws people into conversation. He goes out on the boardwalk and he'll interview people, and he uses questions in a really powerful way just to engage them. It's like, you know, do you think you're a good person? And then he walks through why they're not a good person and why he's not a good person.
He asked first if they're okay to be interviewed and asked and stuff like that. And then they said, be on the camera. They said, fine. Of course, they like to be in the camera.
yeah.
People like to be in the camera.
But he's a very direct evangelist, but he uses questions to build his foundation, to learn something about the person. He has a canned message that he gives everybody, but he always builds it with questions.
Yeah, it's generally establishes, okay, you have a problem. You're not a good person. That's what you
He
think
would
you are.
always say too that, I love you, that's why I'm telling you this. You know, I will like Cliff. It's like, I don't want to do this. It's like, you guys are nasty to me. And the only reason I'm doing this is because I care for you. I need to tell you.
Yeah, Cliff is another street evangelist that
In Austin, in University of Austin.
seeing the sun
Oh
go
yeah,
out.
it gets abused over there.
But I think that's the message that we don't always do a very good job of getting across. And I think through questions, you have the opportunity to open that up. The reason I care is that I care, okay?
I won't be here.
Well, they'll accuse us of being bigoted and exclusive. And it's like, if I was, I wouldn't talk to you. Because the only reason I'm talking to you is because I want better for you. And if you don't want better for you, I still want better for you, right? I mean, that's the Christian way. We want better for other people regardless.
So that's a good approach.
Well,
And that's not normal.
no, it's not the one that they always use, no.
That's okay, it's their choice. People have choices. And what's his name?
He's not.
That Christian, what's that? He said, help me
He's
to,
not.
Bunyan.
Master skills.
Said, help me to accept when you did everything and they don't want to do
That's
it,
what I want.
give you peace. His prayer is, Lord, give me peace to accept what my family desires.
You know, that's not in Pilgrim's Progress.
I know, I think it is there, but I've read the whole darn book. It's not in there.
Are you sure?
I've been searching for it because I want to use it in my book, and I cannot find the quote. So I don't know where we heard that from, but it's not Pilgrim's Progress.
It's in the movie.
Maybe it's in the movie version. It's a great prayer.
It's in the
Well, there's got to be a basis for it. It's a great prayer. I wish it was in there. I'm good.
I've listened to the book.
I cannot find it.
Well, it's at the end. You do this. It's at the end.
Oh, I have a Kindle. I can do a word search. I can find it. I can't find it.
Maybe it's worded different.
It must be worded different. If you guys can find it, I would love it. But in Pilgrim's Progress, Christian is at the end, right? He's the main character. Do you know the book Pilgrim's Progress? And he has this prayer to God, give me peace to accept the decisions of my loved ones. That if they're not going to be in the celestial city with me, just give me the peace to accept it. And I think that's really, in the end,
It's in the movie.
we need that from God, because
It's hard.
you want the best for your family, but
I think it's in the movie.
well. So ambassador skill, page 9. When discussing controversial issues, be careful not to resort to slick rhetoric, empty slogans, loaded words, ridicule, or name calling, because the other side's going to do that. So
Yeah, and
This is-
it's easy to fall into that too, because when your temper gets like out of control,
well, because we have them just as much as they do. But the thing is, if you don't understand what you're saying, you better not say it to start with. But the point,
Embarrassed.
you're not going to persuade a critic by throwing slogans at them. The only way you,
Like what? Like, the Bible said so.
yeah, the Bible said so. You're a sinner. Well, if I don't know what a sin is,
No, I'm not.
what does that mean?
What do you mean?
You know,
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
but we have to be careful, because it's easy. I fall guilty that we toss out that phrase that without thinking about what it, and it's almost it's like the conversation shutdown, right? You get back into a corner and you have a couple phrases that always come to your mind. They just shut down the conversation, right? But it turns it into a fight, and that's what we don't want to do. All right, so I'm going to skip the Wiccan interaction. Let's go ahead and go to going deeper, page 10. All right, so let's do the interactive. Yeah, that's page 11. So that he has what he calls the 10-second window. So
me and Tanya just like the 10 second already left.
no, but let's do these as a group. There's I'm going to read through these, and then I'm going to skip to the end, because he has a second part, and we'll try it, which is going to be on page 19, if you want kind of the second part of this. But I think he builds the scenarios pretty good here. So let's go scenario 1, if you can get it on the page. Okay, let me just read it. So the scenario is there is no God, right? So the scene is you're at a dinner party at your friend's home, and some of your close friends from the church, all right? The conversation ranges naturally over a number of interesting spiritual topics. So you're settled in, and then suddenly, to your surprise and embarrassment, the host's 15-year-old son announces with some belligerence that he does not believe in God anymore. It's simply not rational, he says. There's no proof. No one had any idea he'd been moving in this direction, and there's a stunned silence. So the challenge is your opportunity will pass very quickly. You have only a few seconds to initiate further dialogue with this teenager, right? But you want to do in a way that is productive and will help everyone in the room to reflect intelligently on the issue. What will you say?
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
There is no proof. It's like,
He said, I don't believe in God. There's no proof. What do you mean by that?
Where did you get that idea?
Where'd you get that idea?
Where did you get that idea?
How did you end up with that conclusion?
That's probably the right phrasing. How did you come to that conclusion? Because, you know, he was Christian and now he's moved away from Christianity. So what has made you think that?
Or, yeah,
Why
what?
do you think it's irrational?
So
Or even, you can even do it in a two-part question. It's like, so what do you consider to be rational? And then why is belief in God not rational, right? You take it in two steps.
that's the,
Or, why do you think there's no proof?
Why do you think there's no proof?
Well, the thing is, I think you need to pick one of the questions because there's so much. I think the first thing is what's the rational thing? Because you have to figure out where they're.
He has two different like sentences.
Well, there's actually he makes three claims.
What's the claim?
three claims.
I don't believe in God.
It's not rational,
It's not
It's
rational.
irrational, and
there's no proof.
There's no God, and there's no proof.
I mean, God could still exist even if it wasn't rational. God can exist even if there's no proof. So there's three things here. So you have to pick one to engage, and I think rational is the right one to pick because until you can have a rational conversation, you can't have a conversation.
if one is not rational, then there's no.
So you have to somehow talk him down the path of what is reasonable and rational before you can have a reasonable and rational conversation. So how would you do that?
So he says there is no proof. It's not rational. So what made you say that it is irrational to believe in God?
No.
So you probably have sun silence, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
from the
he has to
teenager.
think. It's like, okay, how do I answer this
Well,
now?
the answer probably, the quickest answer, the typical slogan, there is no proof.
Well,
That's what the typical answer of atheist.
So
Yeah, that's why it's irrational, because there is no proof for it.
But remember, this is a 15-year-old child. So you have to draw the information out of them. I think you need to do it in more than one step. Well, exactly. I mean, I'd want to start with, so where did you get this idea? And then he'll tell you something. And then, so what is rational? You know, define rational, because that's his word. And once you've defined it, now you can build on it. So what's not rational about belief in God? Then he'll go to his proof, right? Then he'll go right to there's no proof. Then you have to ask him, well, what proof would you consider as evidence for God? You don't give him proof. You're wasting your time.
No, you don't give a proof. You ask them what.
But a 15-year-old child would probably answer that question, and then you could give some evidence toward that and bring it around. But you only got, like I said, this is a 15-second conversation. So you're going to have 2 or 3 questions, and he's going to have rebuttals, and then it's gone. So that's a good one, because you can see yourself in this awkward situation. Or you can see yourself out to lunch with a friend you've gone to church with for 20 years, and they tell you that they're suddenly an atheist. It can happen. I've actually had that happen, but see, I wasn't a very good Christian at that stage, so I didn't have anything to respond. It's like, okay, if you, whatever.
Okay, what floats your boat?
All right.
I respect you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think my answer was any better than that. All right, so that two. All right, so religious pluralism. This is an interesting one. Okay, so the scene is, it's the night of your weekly Bible study group. Well, this will be fun. During the discussion of the Sunday sermon on the Great Commission, a newcomer remarks, "Who are we to say Christianity is better than other religions? I think the essence of Jesus' teaching is love." I've heard this. "The same as all religions, not telling other people how to live and believe." The rest of the group fidgets awkwardly and says nothing. So this is that all religions basically are the same.
I get this. I asked this question
So-
before.
Let me read the challenge, and then let's see where we go. So the challenge is you're concerned about your friend's statement, obviously, and want to say something, but you're also concerned about not sounding narrow-minded or intolerant. Okay? No one else is speaking up, and you have only a few seconds before you lose the opportunity to represent God's view on other religions. What will you say? So, okay. Who wants to volunteer what they would say? Remember, our question is, what do you mean by that? So how do you phrase the...
Well, there are a whole bunch of things in this question.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, this is, you can,
Why do you
you
believe
can,
all religions are
it's
the
the
same?
same.
What makes you believe all religions are the same?
What makes you arrive to that conclusion?
That's I'm good.
Well, so he's claiming all the teaching of Jesus is really just love, the same as all other religions. He's challenging us, why do we think Christianity is better than other religions? And not telling other people how to live is what we should be doing. So there's three kind of underlying challenges to Christianity here. Which one do you address first?
I think I would address that the religion are not the same. It's like, what make you say that all religions are the same? Or where did you get the idea that, no, probably not a good question.
How did you arrive to that conclusion?
That all religions are the same.
Show me where the teaching of Jesus is only about love.
Whoa, that's a loaded one. that takes about a 6-week Bible study, though.
Walter, that's actually, that would be a little antagonistic because that person probably don't know. So you're going to shame him. You're going to shame him because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Have you studied all the religions? That's all.
The thing is, this is a different environment, right? We're talking about a Bible study group. It's a
The
newcomer.
person is a newcomer.
It's a
You don't
newcomer.
know. You don't shame
So
him.
you say, have you studied all the different religions?
As you can say, strict religiosity in Christianity. Christianity is intricately intertwined with history and Western civilization. And we are living on, at least on the east side.
Well, see, if I was going to be smart aleck, I'd say, well, Christianity is not a religion. Because it's not. Well, Christianity really isn't a religion. But that's plain semantics. I think you'd have to maybe do this in a few questions to try to lead them down the fact that, do you think every religion leads you to the same place?
Yeah.
Because I think you're in a pseudo-Christian environment. Heaven and hell are part of the topic.
Yeah, yes.
And I think
Stand up.
so I might try to do it in a different way. It's like, well, what do you think determines whether you go to heaven or hell?
The problem is the other religion doesn't even have heaven or hell. That's the answer now.
But I know that. But the thing is, if we go to,
Because they're saying that everything's the same.
But it'd be very interesting to figure out what their view of heaven and hell is before you engage the next step. If they don't believe in heaven and hell, then you have to go down a different road. It's not about religion anymore. It's about not knowing the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't know Christianity, so you can't be defending Christianity to a pseudo-Christian that doesn't know Christianity. You need to educate
The
them.
first really thing that you address is how did you end up with the conclusion that all religions are the same?
There's something else in there too.
go ahead.
I had the same question.
He doesn't like it that it tells other people how to live or believe.
Mm-hmm.
So he is basically challenging Jesus's instructions to be able to tell people how to live.
It's the authority of God, right?
Other
Yes, he's
religions doesn't tell you how to live.
authority.
You know what, I think what I would do, this is just me, I think I would tell a story and then ask a question. Bill Wise's story about the hunting cabin. Have you guys ever heard this? Maybe I think I've told this story. Bill Wise tells a story. He went on a radio program and they told him he couldn't use any references to God or the Bible to defend Christianity. And one of the stories he's told, I love the story. He basically said, okay, you are offended that we think Christianity is exclusive. There's only one way, and that's through belief in Jesus. Well, let me give you the example. So say you know this rich person and they have a cabin in the remote mountains someplace, and they've invited you for a week for vacation. And they're giving you very precise instructions how to get there because it's their cabin. And you say, no, I don't need the instructions. I'll find my own way. What are the chances of you finding your way if there's no GPS, there's no maps, there's only one way, and the owner of the house probably knows the way. And so if you choose to go your own way, well, you're not going to get there. And that's the exclusiveness of Christianity is not about we're excluding people. It's just there's only one way. And everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome on the way, but we're welcoming. But there's only one path that leads to the cabin.
It's twisted in a way, so people will think that you're being like, what do you call this?
Narrow-minded.
Discriminating, exclusive. And the thing is, I'm not discriminating because everybody's welcome.
No, and the thing of that is, okay, by telling me, you said you have to accept everything. And why don't you accept me as being inclusive? So
good.
you actually are not, you're being exclusive, you're excluding me.
Yep.
Because you don't like my belief. You only want like, oh, take everybody except yours. Because your belief is, oh, there's only one way. If you're open to everything, you'll take my way too. You got no say because you're open. So if I said there's only one way, fine, it's your way. But no, they're telling you you're wrong because you don't accept others.
Yeah, Coco did an interview. I can't remember what the Indian guy was that he did interview with, but the guy was a religious pluralist. And in the interview, it's like, I think all religions lead to heaven or nirvana or whatever he was referring to. And Coco's comeback was, okay, but again, what do you mean by that? It's like, if all religions are right, yet Christianity says that there's only one way, then they can't all be right. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't have religious pluralism and have religions that think they're the only way. Because Muslims think they're the only way. The Jews think they're the only way.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, okay, Buddhism thinks the highest goal is to nirvana.
You lose yourself.
You lose yourself. You don't want anything. You detach yourself from everything. That's their heaven. That's the version of heaven. The Indians have different.
You get reincarnated.
In you better place, better situation the next time. And us, we go to be with God in heaven. And the Muslim has a different.
Yeah, I mean,
How can it be the same?
the problem with religious pluralism
Which
is they
one?
can't all be right
Yeah,
because
which
because all religions think they're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can all be wrong, but they cannot all be right.
So I think in this format, which is a Bible study, it might be good to go that direct.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you think all religions are right? I might shift it. Why do you think they're all right? Because they all think they're right. But everybody can't be right. And I think if you brought that circle, you could show the fallacy in the concept.
It has a different outcome. It cannot be all right.
Claim that they're all the same is
But they're not all the same because they all claim exclusivity, and they can't be all exclusive. So